Hello YouTube, this is No.7. Back again to do another review on one of my models. This has to be one of the, it has to be one of the biggest. I'm just trying to get a bit of dust off. Obviously it's the world's largest aircraft in the real world. But before I actually get on with the review of this model, I just want to point out that my computer is all sorted now. The graphics card has arrived and it should arrive tomorrow, so I'll be looking forward to that. And well, the guy who's doing it is supposed to be coming around 11 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, because obviously I live in the UK and that's my local time. So now I'll just say, before I actually do the review, I'm just going to say what you think of the overall aircraft, sort of like in the real world, and sort of compare it against others. Because to start off with, obviously only one of these has actually ever been made. Or should I say, one of these is actually ever flown, because they were actually planning on building a second one, and then they scrapped that. And I think I read something a while back, a few months back now, that they were actually planning on to rebuild the one that they were planning to build, the second one they were planning to build originally. Whether that's true or not, I'm not entirely sure. I sort of feel that, like, this aircraft is, you're not going to see it at every airport. You're not going to see it at, like, St. Martin, or I don't know where. Like my airport, my local airport, Doncaster, Robin Hood, is quite lucky because we have a long runway. It's one of the longest runways in northern England. It's not that busy. It would be good to see a bit of extra traffic at Doncaster, but we actually had the opportunity to see this. It came in a bit late. It was getting a bit dark, but we did manage to see it. Unfortunately, at that time, I wasn't into photography, and I didn't actually get any photos. I just actually logged the registration, as that's what I used to do. But now I don't log registrations because I've got like photo evidence of that, instead. So you call Concorde iconic. It was iconic because of the speed that it went. The Vulcan as well. Some of you guys might have heard of the Vulcan. It was one of the three V bombers. The other one was the Victor, and the other one was I'm not entirely sure what you call the other one, but the Victor and the Vulcan are the most famous, I think. Vulcan obviously being the most famous, which actually bombed the Falklands. It's known for the Falklands War, which obviously the Falkland Islands sort of in dispute between the Argentinians and the British. That's actually recently been on the news about that, to say whether the people that actually live there want to be British or not. The Vulcan in a way is iconic at the moment, because there's obviously only one flying of that as well. But to be honest, this is just obviously it's not fast like Concorde, but this is just, I'm not entirely sure when this was built. Since it has been flying, it has changed liveries. It used to have like a red strip along. That's the version that went to Manchester. At that time, I'm not sure if it was registered with Charlie Papa, because the registration used to be CCP dash and then a series of numbers, whereas now it's Uniform Romeo 82060. So yeah, for me, this is a true iconic aircraft. I mean, it's big, so if you kind of just saw it, and I mean, if one of one of my friends sort of said, "Oh, did the British build that?" I'd be like, "Oh, you know," not to criticise British because I'm British myself, but to be honest, with this the size that it is, you know, the Russians do think big, and I've got to give it to them. They have pulled off a really wonderful aircraft. So now I'll just actually get on with the review. It's a Herpa model, for those of you who don't know. Just to start off with, like, you know, the nose. Well, basically, it brings back when I saw it at Robin Hood. You know, you've got the Antonov 225 titles at the front, international cargo transporter, and then in small writing, which you won't be able to see underneath that, you've got the phone number and fax number and the email. That is actually normally on all Antonov Airlines fleet, include like the Antonov 124s, and this specific aircraft is named Mriya. In Russian, there it actually says Mriya. It's in British. We spell it as Mriya, or Mike Romeo. Mike Romeo India Yankee Alpha. I think that's right. But yeah, in like Russian, it looks like it's an M, then a P, an I, and then a backwards R. That's how the Russians write. They do put letters back to front, and it's sort of like, I can't remember, Paulette, Rose Flight. It actually looks like it says Paulette, but or at least that's what I think it says. But it's actually not. It's in fact, no, sorry. Yeah, I think it is that. I think it does. I think that's the one that I'm on about. But obviously the letters are sort of different, and it makes it look like it's something like a word in English when it's not. But yeah, this particular, like all big Antonovs do have double nose gear, as you can see there. At Doncaster Airport, because we have an apron with like two loops at either end of the apron, it's stand 1A, and then you've got stand 8A. This actually parked on 1A, where most aircraft usually park that are big. You know, we didn't need like a tug or anything to like push it back or anything. So I'm guessing if this was to land at an airport, you'd have to have either the correct tug to actually push it back, or have a system where it can just loop round. I'm not sure, like I say in my model airport video that I did yesterday, I'm not sure if this was actually pushed back at Manchester or whether it just looped round on that taxiway / stand that I was on about. So yeah, you've got the Russian flag. Not, in fact, no, I think that's actually Ukrainian. But to be honest, I don't know if, I mean, I think that is Ukraine. So it's Ukraine registered, but I think the Russians, is Ukraine part of Russia, or is it similar? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I mean, I know Ukraine and Russia are separate countries, I'm guessing, but I'm not entirely sure who actually designed it, to be honest. But yeah, they've done, obviously, I mean, you know, you can't miss out the front double nose gear. If Herpa had done that, then that would just be ridiculous. You've also got like a little mark just above the wing there. I'm guessing that's where the landing lights or something might be. And then obviously you got three engines on each side, 6 engines in total. I must say I do actually like the yellow and blue stripes on the actual livery, it really is a nice design. Antonov Airlines own this aircraft. It's part of their fleet. Like on most Antonovs as well, the end wingtips are coloured red. I'm guessing that's to acknowledge where the end wingtip is as like a hazard. I can't think of any other reason, because obviously the rest of the wing is just like white. So for the actual ends, I'm guessing that's more easier to see rather than white, because it might be difficult to see in like sunlight, etc. But yeah, in total, the undercarriage, you can see there, mass of undercarriage. I think it's actually got a total of 32. So I'll just actually count them for you just to double check. We've got 4 at the front. When I say like actual undercarriage wheels, I mean each individual wheels. I don't mean like a set. So like you've got 4 at the front, because you've got like 2 sets, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Oh, it's actually 36. It's 32 on the main gear and 4 on the nose gear, which totals the entire quantity of wheels to be 36. That is, you know, there's no, with this being the world's largest aircraft, there's no other aircraft that I know of that has more than at least 36 wheels. The Antonov 124 obviously has a few less, because it's not as big and it probably don't need that many. Now, this might sound stupid, but when I actually first opened this out of the box, when I actually first got it, I thought the wings were actually bent. The back wings were actually bent. If I just like turn it around, then you'll be able to see that they actually, sort of, like if I put it like that, you can actually see that they go inwards, and you can actually see the inner side. They actually come upwards, so if they kept going up and up, they would eventually meet. It's honestly, like I say, when I first opened it, I thought it was actually not supposed to be like that, but yeah, the rear wings are actually supposed to be like that. I'm guessing that's what they designed to do. It's quite a weighty model as well. It's got quite a bit of weight to it. That's mostly probably because, I appreciate that Herpa do actually make their 1/400 scale aircraft in die-cast metal. I'm not sure if they do that with their smaller aircraft like ERJs or whatever, but it's a real addition for something as big as this, rather than the usual plastic or like whatever they use to actually make the molds. Moving on, you've got the humps. They are to transport, or used to be to transport, the Soviet. It's like a Russian version of the space shuttle. The US space shuttle. I can't remember what you call it. I think it's, oh dear me, I can't actually remember. But yes, what they actually do is it's similar to what they do with the or used to do, because I don't think none of the space shuttles are actually flying anymore. They've actually grounded them all. I'm not sure about the Russian version, but yeah, they like the US version. What they do is they get the space shuttle on the ground, they winch it up via like crane mechanism, and then they actually bring the aircraft in by push, by a tug, and actually position it on top of the aircraft, fit everything to it, and then once they realise that everything's in place, then the aircraft can actually take off with the shuttle on top. Obviously, this aircraft will never have carried the American version, because the Americans and Russians are, they are sort of, we don't really want to go into that, to be honest, because it's sort of, you all probably know what's gone off between the Americans and Russians. But yeah, it's a nice little. The engines are nice with their like logo, whatever they are. Registration there. You got like a little door up there. Not entirely sure what that door would be used for. Like the door. Oh yeah, just to note, the door at the front will have its own steps coming from the aircraft. That's what most all the big Antonov, all 4-engined Antonovs have. As far as I'm aware, just they have actually got like other little bump things on top as well. I'm not really sure. I'm guessing that's to hold down the shuttle as well. I could be wrong. The one thing that is nice about this, I'll just pick up the camera first. Herpa actually made the Herpa logo quite small. It's not like the biggest of logos, which is nice. It's a shame that it is on the aircraft, but it's at least they've actually sort of probably thought about it. On the front as well, you've got the same again, Antonov Airlines with their number, fax and email. So we've actually just had, I just mentioned this, we actually just had an Antonov 124 in again at Doncaster. It landed Thursday, I think, and took off today. I was at college, so I didn't actually get a chance to see it. Registration was UR82007, I think that's right. Just to mention that I do have 3 Antonov 124s in 1/400 scale. One is the Libyan Air Cargo by Herpa as well. Antonov Airlines, which is Gemini Jets, and Volga Dnepr, which is Gemini Jets as well. I was thinking about getting the 20th anniversary for, the 20th anniversary of Volga Dnepr, but I didn't really want it, and at the time, to be honest, I didn't really have the money. There was other models. What I'll do now is actually just sort of place the aircraft camera there, and I've still got the Antonov Airlines 124 down here, so I'll just give you like a size comparison. If you look, well, what I'll do, I don't know if this will work. It might sound a bit stupid, but to be honest, I don't think that's going to work. Oh, hang on, that might do. Some of you might think it's, oh no, it's not going to do that, is it? It's not balancing, no. But I can sort of give you, what I'll do is actually just hold the camera. That will be easier. Actually just position it on top, like that. That's more or less like right on top of each other. You can see the wingspan's a bit bigger, and the overall aircraft is slightly longer. It's not that much longer, you might think, but in the real world, because you times it up, by 400, it will be a lot bigger in comparison. So yeah, obviously that's the usual Antonov Airlines livery, and then for this Antonov 225, they haven't actually got that livery, which is sort of good because it makes the 225 more sort of more, I don't really like to use the word iconic in terms of the livery, but sort of that special, if you get what I mean. But yeah, just realised this video is coming up to 90 minutes, so I have hope you enjoyed this review. Apologies for it being so long, I sort of got carried away. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to look out for my future FSX videos, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.